Hello, my name is Vivian Aguilar,
And I'm Brianna Lawrence.
and this is our group presentation on Paul Watzlawick's theory on relational patterns of interaction for communication class 174571 for the spring semester of 2024. Let's get started. So, first, a little theory background. Paul Watzlawick was a psychotherapist who worked in the Mental Research Institute in Palo Alto. So, with his mentor and his colleagues, they formed the Palo Alto group that laid the foundation for family therapy and the study of relationships. Watzlawick would focus on the communication effects in families and specifically those with dysfunctional relationships. So he developed a communication theory based on this research known as the interactional view. With his colleagues, they wrote their book Pragmatics of Human Communication, which was released in 1967. And as the University of Kentucky wrote in their article Communication Pragmatics / Interactional View, it is known as the theory of pragmatics because it really depends on particular situations. And this theory provided us with 5 axioms of communication, which work as a framework for how communication takes place. However, the theory leans more towards free will. So, though there is a framework, people always find themselves in unique situations with people communicating in their own different ways. And because we all communicate differently, our different languages can lead to miscommunication, which is what Watzlawick wrote all about. Take it away, Brandon.
Paul Watzlawick, who was a prominent communication theorist, introduced the concept of relational patterns of interaction in his work on communication theory, particularly in his book Pragmatics of Human Communication. Excuse me. In essence, Paul Watzlawick argued that communication isn't just the content of the message, but also the relational context in which it occurs. From this, he proposed 5 axioms that describe these relational patterns. One beginning with the first axiom, one cannot not communicate. This axiom suggests that even silence or nonverbal behavior communicates something. Everything we do conveys a message, whether it be verbally or with our body language. The second axiom is communication has both digital and analogic aspects. Digital communication refers to the content of the message, while analogic communication includes nonverbal cues such as our tone of voice or our body language. The third axiom is communication is punctuated. People in a relationship tend to define events in terms of causality, leading to a cycle of action and each other's reactions to those actions. And the fourth axiom is communication is symmetric or complementary. Relationships can be characterized by symmetry, where interactions are equal or complementary, where one's behavior complements the other. This is greatly seen in the text Alder interplay process of interpersonal communication. And the fifth axiom, communication is either digital or analogic, is in communication, people send messages both digitally by using words and analogically through our nonverbal cues. This is as well mentioned in the Interpersonal Relational Patterns of Communication by Saylor Academy. Watzlawick's work highlights the complexity of the human interaction and emphasizes the importance of understanding relational dynamics in the communication. So, what are some benefits of applying the theory in application? Watzlawick's theory of relational patterns of interaction offers several benefits in an application. One of the benefits of applying the theory is improved communication. By understanding the relational context of communication, individuals can develop better communication skills, including active listening, empathy, and awareness of each other's nonverbal cues. Another benefit is enhanced interpersonal relationships. Applying Watzlawick's theory can lead to healthier and more satisfying relationships by promoting clear communication, mutual understanding, and respect for each other's perspectives. With this also It helps with communication and effective leadership. Leaders who grasp the relational patterns of interaction can foster better team dynamics, facilitate collaboration, and build trust among team members. Organizational communication is another benefit of applying this theory. In a professional context, understanding the relational patterns can lead to more effective organizational communication, better team cohesion, and increased productivity. Counseling and therapy is another benefit, whereas therapists can use the theory to help clients recognize and address dysfunctional communication patterns between their relationships, lead to improve interpersonal dynamics and emotional well-being. And lastly, another benefit is conflict resolution. The theory helps in understanding the underlying dynamics of conflicts within relationships by identifying whether interactions are symmetrical or complementary. Individuals can work towards resolving conflicts more effectively. Overall, the application of Waltzwick's theory can lead to more fulfilling relationships, both personally and professionally, by promoting clear communication and deeper understanding between individuals. This makes us question, what are some of the consequences of the theory and application? One consequence would be misinterpretation. Applying the theory incorrectly or without a nuanced understanding of the context can lead to misinterpretation of relational dynamics, potentially exacerbating conflicts or misunderstandings. Another consequence could be power dynamics. In some cases, focusing solely on relational patterns may overlook power imbalances within relationships, such as those based on gender, race, or socioeconomic status. Ignoring these dynamics can perpetuate inequalities and injustice. And another consequence of applying Waltzwick's theory incorrectly would be resistance to change. Individuals or groups may resist changes in communication patterns, even when those changes could lead to healthier relationships or more effective interactions. This resistance can hinder progress and growth. And lastly, another consequence of applying the theory incorrectly would be ethical considerations. In certain situations, applying Waltzwick's theory may raise ethical concerns, particularly in therapeutic or counseling contexts, where client autonomy and well-being must be carefully considered in applying the theory. Overall, while Waltzwick's theory provides valuable insights into relational communication, its application requires careful consideration of specific contexts and understanding its limitations of the theory.
Thank you, Brianna. Now we have a little short video speaking about the first axiom specifically. We couldn't find any other ones.
Here we have Tom and Sarah. As Watzlawick says, they cannot not communicate. So as soon as they perceive each other, there's an exchange of information. But how is that possible? Because communication is not only limited on spoken language. Let's say Tom walks up to Sarah to say hello. But immediately, Sarah gives him this weird look girls like to give when they want to let the boy know that he messed something up. Without having said a word, Tom figures that something is wrong and knows that he should better be careful now. Just to make sure Tom really understands, Sarah does not say a word and just turns around instead. Even though there has not been any verbal interaction yet, still, the exchange of information was large. Through her body language, Sarah clearly communicated that she is not interested in a communication with Tom right now. This shows us that once two or more persons perceive one another, an exchange of information happens, whether it's verbally or non-verbally. And as a result, you cannot not communicate.
All right, I hope you enjoyed that video. As you can see in the disclaimer, we are about to do our scene, and please be patient with us. We think we're really good, but we're not actors. So let's get started. Action. Hey, Brianna, I'm so excited for a movie night, and I wanted to ask what you thought about watching a horror movie.
I'm not sure, girl. I'm not a big fan of horror movies. How about we watch a romantic comedy instead?
But horror movies are so much more thrilling and exciting. Don't you think it'll be fun?
I know, but would much prefer something more lighthearted. I think a romantic comedy could actually be really enjoyable.
I guess that could be okay, but I was really looking forward to something more intense.
I get it. We both want different things, but maybe we can find a movie that is more of a combination of the two.
That sounds interesting, but I don't think a suspenseful romantic comedy even exists. It sounds like a weird mix.
Well, I think it's worth looking into. We don't have to settle for just one genre if we can find something that appeals to both of us.
Fine. Let's say a movie like that actually exists. How do we even find it? I doubt there are many options.
Well, we can start by doing some research. Trust me, there are plenty of movie recommendation websites dedicated to just reviewing people's favorite movies.
I don't know, this feels like a waste of time. Why can't we just pick a horror movie and just be done with it?
Because this movie night is supposed to be fun for both of us. I'm trying to find a compromise that we can both enjoy.
But what if we can't find anything? Are you just gonna force me to watch a boring rom-com?
Of course not. I want us both to enjoy the movie. That's why I'm suggesting we look for something that has a little bit of both genres.
Fine, but if we can't find anything good, I'm picking the movie next time, and it's going to be a horror movie.
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Let's focus on finding a movie for tonight first.
In action. That was really good. All right, now we're going to move on to a little bit of an explanation of what we just did. So, in our scene, we are constantly communicating our preferences, our concerns, and frustrations, definitely from my part, even though sometimes we didn't explicitly state them. So despite us being on Zoom, we are communicating face to face. So our opinions were evident in our voices, our facial expressions, and in our choice of words, which demonstrates the first axiom. Though the content aspect of communication in this instance included the choice of movie, the relationship aspect can be seen from the way Brianna tries to compromise to demonstrate consideration and maintain a positive relationship despite our disagreement. So the way you speak to your friend is what defines the relational aspect. In our scene, you can tell that I have the confidence to disagree with her and show my true opinion about the topic. The third axiom is definitely found in our conflict from different interpretations and punctuation of the sequence. I perceive Brianna's suggestion as unnecessary and a waste of time, while she saw it as essential to ensure we both enjoy the movie night. In terms of punctuation, it is, as it is said, it is the way we phrase our verbal statements that varies by individual. So the way I spoke was completely different to how Brianna expressed herself. So these conflicting punctuations were the cause of tension in our scene, specifically from my part. And as for the fourth axiom, our digital communications, such as our verbal exchanges, were much more explicit, while our analogical or nonverbal cues just added more layers to the meaning. So in the end, we see how a simple disagreement has many layers to it, and it highlights the complexities of interpersonal communication. These include the negotiation of meaning, the impact of relational dynamics, and the role of perception in shaping communication. So analogical and digital content work together to give face-to-face interactions its richness, as we saw in our textbook. So when both are perceived, it leaves less room for misinterpretation. They connect with one another. So for example, if our dialogue was mainly through text, just through text, you wouldn't be able to perceive my attitude. You wouldn't be able to get that feeling that I'm very frustrated. And as for the final axiom, the fifth one, Our different approaches to the movie were definitely complementary communication, meaning we both approached the situation in very distinct ways. However, Brianna's compromising approach was probably the best way to go. Her calm demeanor de-escalated the situation, as in me, I'm the problem. All right. So as Brianna had mentioned earlier, when keeping these concepts in mind, we can achieve better communication awareness. Even small things like our eyes or the way we stand can send different messages than our words do. So we also gain a deeper understanding of relationships and find better ways to deal with conflict. And what I personally think is most important in relationships is perspectives. If we are able to perceive as others do, meaning we put ourselves in their situation, which kind of connects with empathy, we learn to understand them better and resolve conflicts in a way that works for both parties, just as Brianna tried to do in her little scene. And finally, we can adapt our communication patterns and effectively deliver our messages. So as what Slawik had said, most misunderstandings are products of different languages. So when we learn to adapt the way we communicate, we change communication styles. We also get our point across better, meaning our message is received by the other communicator. So whether it be that the other person has a different communication style or we don't have the right understanding of them, we are able to adapt. We have that capacity. So finally, we wanted to show you the references or sites that we used throughout this presentation, in case you are curious. But we want to thank you for listening to our presentation and letting us educate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.